Chapter 1 Nerd Life System Trouble. People say obsession is dangerous. They're right, but they never said how dangerous. In my case, it didn't ruin my grades, my job, or my sleep schedule. No, it went ahead and ruined my entire reality. I'm Su Wan, 20 years old, certified nerd, cultivator of the holy arts of instant noodles, and disciple of the great Tao of Wi-Fi. My life philosophy is simple. Don't study too hard, don't socialize too much, and never, ever diss my favorite fictional man. That man is Ranshu. Yes, that Ranshu. The villain overlord of the wildly popular wuxia BL web novel Immortal Path of Heaven's Judgment. The forums are full of people who curse his name. Cold-hearted tyrant. They call him cruel demon who wanted to destroy the world. Others hate him for blocking the hero's romance with the heroine. But to me, he's misunderstood perfection. Look at this aura. I typed furiously into the forum at 2 in the morning, eyes bloodshot but spirit unwavering. This isn't cruelty. This is elegance. Ranshu isn't cold. He's pure. He doesn't waste time chasing skirts like the hero. He's focused, dedicated, innocent. Tell me who else in that novel had the guts to carry the weight of a sect and survive betrayal after betrayal? Ha. Of course, within minutes, replies rolled in. Bro, you're insane, he killed like 100 cultivators. Villain simp spotted. Imagine defending the guy who literally tried to burn the world. I didn't care. I slammed my keyboard harder. Those cultivators deserved it. They tried to kill him first. And burning the world? Maybe the world deserved it too. You all only see the overlord. I see the lonely boy who never had a chance to smile. Yes, I argued with strangers online until sunrise. Yes, I have no regrets. Because Ranshu was mine. Not in a creepy way, okay? Just, he deserved at least one person in this universe to love him without condition. If the novel world couldn't do it, I would. Even if it meant shouting into the void of fandom forums every night until my fingers cramped. That was how it started. But then something weird happened. The first sign was my laptop screen glitching. I thought it was just overheating again. The fan sounded like a dying tractor, so nothing unusual there. But then the chat box froze, and instead of replies, I saw glowing text crawl across the screen. System alert, binding detected. Host identified. Su Wan. Reason. Excessive emotional devotion towards subject, Ranshu. Excuse me? What the hell? Did my laptop catch a virus from too much fanfiction? The text continued. Congratulations, host. You have been selected by the Collapse Prevention System. Mission: prevent subject Ranshu from blackening and destroying the world. I laughed. Out loud. I actually slapped the table, scaring my cat off the couch. Okay. Who's trolling me? Which one of you edited the forum's CSS? This isn't funny. I know I'm down bad. But not that down bad. But the screen wouldn't close. No matter how many times I hit escape, Control+Delete, or prayed to the immortal god of Task Manager, the glowing words remained. Host Su Wan, your devotion has been acknowledged. Binding complete. And then, like some kind of cosmic prank, a mechanical voice spoke right into my ears. Welcome, host. System initializing. I froze. My heart thumped. You mean you're real? Affirmative. I stared at my screen. The chat window had been replaced by a cold blue interface filled with bars and numbers I didn't understand. This is insane. I'm hallucinating. I've gone insane from lack of sleep. You are not hallucinating. You have been chosen to stabilize the narrative collapse of the world you obsess over. I threw my hands up. Wait. Are you saying Ranshu is real? My voice cracked like a broken flute. Affirmative. Subject Ranshu has deviated from intended character arc. He has begun accumulating blackening value. Probability of world destruction. 98%. My jaw dropped. World destruction? Blackening? I thought this was just a web novel. Negative. For you, fiction. For the inhabitants, reality. You have meddled excessively with subjects' narrative energy through fandom obsession. You are now bound to repair the damage. I covered my face with both hands and groaned. I just wanted to thirst post about a hot villain. How did this become a job application? The voice didn't budge. You must enter the narrative. Protect Ranshu from the events that lead to his blackening. Prevent collapse. Hold on, hold on. Even if I agreed with this nonsense, why me? Why not someone smart? Or, I don't know, a cultivator who actually knows what he's doing. I shook my head furiously. Because only you have demonstrated unwavering positive devotion to subject. I felt my ears turn red. That's just called being a fanboy. Correction. Devotion level terminal. You are ideal candidate. I wanted to scream, or crawl under my blanket and never come out. Instead, I dragged my chair back, pacing my messy room while my cat stared at me like I'd finally lost it. So let me get this straight. Because I loved Ranshu too much, no, because I wouldn't shut up about him online, I was now bound to a literal cosmic system and had to save him from blackening, or else the world would collapse. This is a scam. This has to be a scam. Binding irreversible. Host will now be transported. Transported? Wait, no. I haven't even showered. I'm still in pajamas. At least let me put on. But it was too late. The laptop screen flared white, swallowing my tiny room. The taste of electricity buzzed on my tongue. My body jerked like I was being yanked through the world's biggest USB port. My last coherent thought was, if this dumps me into the story mid-battle while I'm still wearing cartoon panda pajamas, I swear I will sue. And that's how I, Su Wan, #1 fanboy of Ranshu, ended up being kidnapped by a system, dragged into a wuxia novel, and forced to play hero when all I wanted was to scream about how hot the villain looked in black robes. Some people die for love. Some people kill for love. Me? Apparently I transmigrate for love. Chapter 2, Forced into the World. I always thought transmigration would be glamorous. You know the drill. Handsome young master body, spiritual jade pendant that unlocks godly powers, a personal harem of immortals lining up to hand-feed me grapes. Reality? Not even close. I woke up face-first in dirt. My panda pajama pants were gone. Thank the heavens, but they'd been replaced with scratchy hemp robes that smelled like someone's laundry had been left out during a thunderstorm. My body ached like I'd been beaten with a bamboo pole. And when I sat up, I realized I was lying on the side of a mountain road. Birds chirped. Wind blew. Mist curled between ancient pines. It looked beautiful. Sure. But I was too busy trying not to scream. System. What the hell just happened? I asked. Host has been successfully inserted into narrative world. I froze. Inserted? Excuse me, I'm not some USB stick. Where am I? You are currently inhabiting the identity of a rogue cultivator. No sect affiliation. Background. Wandering vagrant. Cultivation level. Initial chi condensation. I clutched my chest. Wait, chi condensation? That's basically cannon fodder tier. You dropped me in here with the strength of a cabbage seller. Host must blend in. Overpowered identities are prone to narrative rejection. Blend in my ass. At least give me a cheat item, a golden finger, a mystical jade that lets me one-punch nascent soul cultivators. Denied. Your golden finger is me. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. I hate my life. After about 10 minutes of panicking, pacing, and considering whether throwing myself off the mountain might eject me back to my warm bed, I finally calmed down enough to look around. It really was the world of the novel. The scenery was exactly how the author described it. Jade green peaks stabbing into the sky, waterfalls roaring in the distance, and spiritual mist so thick you could almost chew it. If I weren't terrified, I might have cried from sheer fanboy excitement. So it's true, this is really Ranshu's world. I muttered. The system chimed like an annoying alarm clock. Affirmative. Warning. Subject Ranshu's blackening value currently at 62%. I snapped my head up. 62. That's already more than halfway. How much time do I have? At current rate, subject will destroy the narrative world in approximately 8 years. My stomach dropped. 8 years. Host mission. Prevent subject's blackening. Objective. Alter key events of subject's youth. I froze. Slowly, the memories of the novel's early chapters surfaced in my brain. Ranshu's childhood, the beatings, the kidnappings, the beast attack. Each one carved pain into his soul until he became the cold, world-destroying overlord everyone hated. And the very first tragedy? It was about to happen soon. My blood ran cold. Wait, this timeline. This is the arc where Ranshu was beaten nearly to death by some stupid noble cultivators. I swallowed hard. I sat on the dirt, clutching my hair. System, you threw me in right when my favorite character is about to suffer. This is abuse. Correction. This is mission. I staggered to my feet, trying to shake off the panic. Okay, calm down, Su Wan. You're not a hero, but you've read this novel 12 times. If anyone knows the script, it's you. You know where the beats hit. You know who betrays who. That thought gave me a sliver of confidence. All right, fine. I'll do it. I'll save Ranshu. I don't care if I'm with low power. If plot armor can protect those dumb protagonists, then it can damn well protect me too. I looked up at the sky, clenching my fist. Ranshu, don't worry. Your #1 fan is here. From this day on, not a single hair on your pretty head will be harmed. A nearby squirrel stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Fair enough. The next challenge was surviving long enough to actually find Ranshu. Rogue cultivator meant I had no sect, no allies, and no supplies. I checked my shabby robes and found a single pouch with 2 spirit stones, half a dried bun, and a rusty dagger that looked like it had been used more for cutting vegetables than fighting demons. This is a scam, I muttered. I spent the day stumbling down the mountain road, nearly twisting my ankle 3 times and almost eating a poisonous mushroom out of desperation. Every cultivator I passed eyed me like I was a beggar, which technically I was. By the time the sun dipped, I collapsed by a stream, drinking water with my hands like some kind of feral animal. My reflection in the ripples made me wince. Pale face, messy black hair, robes that didn't fit right. Rogue cultivator? More like rogue clown. System, I whispered, exhausted. Why me? Seriously, I'm no hero. I'm just some nerd who liked a villain too much. For once, the system's voice was quieter. Because subject Ranshu must have someone who chooses him first. Without condition. I blinked. For a moment my chest ached. That was true. In the novel, no one ever chose him. They only feared him, hated him, or used him. I clenched my fists. Fine. Then I'll be that person. Even if I die trying. Of course, I didn't expect the universe to take me literally so fast. Because just as I was vowing under the stars, I heard shouting in the distance. Torches flickered. Laughter echoed. I crept closer and my heart froze. A small boy, thin, ragged, with sharp eyes that didn't match his age, was cornered by a group of spoiled, noble cultivators. Their swords gleamed in the firelight. Their voices dripped cruelty. And the boy, I knew that face. Ranshu. My Ranshu. I almost cried. The novel was unfolding exactly as I remembered. This was it. The first tragedy. I swallowed the lump in my throat. System, I whispered, my hands trembling. This is where he nearly dies. Correction. Right now, this is where you intervene. My mouth went dry. The dagger in my pouch suddenly felt like the heaviest thing in the world. But I forced myself to grip it anyway, eyes locked on the boy who would one day become the feared overlord. Ranshu, cold, ruthless, and alone. But tonight he wasn't alone. Not anymore. Chapter 3, First Crossing, Noble Beating. If I had to describe my first mission in this world, it would be pain, stupidity, and more pain. There they were. 5 noble brats, dressed in embroidered robes, each one holding a sword like it was a toy. And in the center of their circle was a boy. Small, too thin, his sleeves torn. His black hair clung to his face with sweat and dust. Ranshu. Even at this age, his eyes were sharp. No crying, no begging. Just silent defiance as he stood there, jaw tight, while the brats jeered at him. Trash orphan? One sneered, slamming the hilt of his sword into the boy's shoulder. Ranshu staggered, coughing, but didn't make a sound. Look at him, doesn't even fight back. What a coward. Another laughed. A third raised his sword high, the edge catching the torchlight. One cut and this stray will learn his place. My heart lurched. This was it. The first tragedy. Without thinking, honestly, I didn't even decide. My body just moved. "Hey!" I shouted, charging forward like an idiot. My rusty dagger was still in my hand, though I doubted it would help much. "Back off, you spoiled little cucumbers." They froze, startled. "Who the hell are you?" I planted myself in front of Ranshu, spreading my arms wide to block him. My voice shook, but I forced it to come out strong. "I'm the guy who's not gonna let you touch him again." Behind me, I felt Ranshu stiffen. He didn't say anything, but his eyes bored into my back. The nobles exchanged glances, then sneered. "A rogue cultivator? A chi condensation? You're barely worth the dirt under my shoes." One lunged. The blade came down fast, too fast. I didn't dodge. Steel sliced into my chest, burning fire tearing through me. My breath hitched, blood flooding my mouth. But I stayed where I was. I clutched the boy behind me with one arm, shielding him with my body. My knees buckled, but I didn't move aside. Pain. Gods, it hurt. My vision blurred, black spots swimming in the corners. But even through the haze, I thought one thing. He's alive. He's safe. For the first time since I landed here, my chest didn't feel like it was just panic and fear. Felt right. I coughed, choking on the blood spilling down my robes, and tried to smile over my shoulder at him. "At least you're safe," I whispered. His eyes widened. His small hands twitched as if to reach for me, but I was already falling. The ground rushed up, cold and hard. The last thing I saw before darkness swallowed me was Ranshu's stunned face. Too young and too fragile for this world. And then nothing. Chapter 4, System Reset. Dying hurts. I don't care what people say about it's just like falling asleep. That's a lie. Dying is like getting hit by lightning while choking on glass shards. Then someone sets your insides on fire for good measure. And the worst part? I didn't even get the peace of staying dead. When my eyes opened again, I wasn't in that dirt courtyard anymore. I wasn't even in the novel world. I was floating in a space that looked like nothing. Not black, not white, not even gray. Just emptiness. My body felt weightless, but my chest ached. My hand instinctively pressed against where the sword had pierced me, but there was no wound, only phantom pain. I swallowed hard, breath shaky. "So this is the afterlife?" A cold, mechanical voice cut through the silence. "Host died. Restarting timeline." I jerked upright, or at least as upright as you can get while floating in void soup. "System. He was supposed to be safe." I threw myself in front of him. I took the hit. He didn't get hurt. How is that a failure? My voice cracked, anger bubbling up. Correction. Host prevented subjects near death in Event 1. However, host deceased. Mission incomplete. Restarting. I froze. "Wait. Incomplete? What do you mean incomplete?" "He's okay, isn't he? That's the whole point." Objective. Ensure subject survives critical events without host dying in place of him. My jaw dropped. "What?" I flailed in the void, nearly spinning myself upside down. "So you're telling me my glorious sacrifice doesn't even count because I died? Are you insane?" Host death destabilizes narrative. Continuity cannot proceed without host presence. Reset required. I wanted to scream. "Oh, continuity my ass." I literally bled out for him. Do you know how much that hurt? I could taste iron all the way down my throat. The system didn't care. His tone was as calm as ever. "Warning. Host emotional state unstable. Recommend acceptance of parameters." Unstable? Of course I'm unstable. I just got murdered by a 13-year-old with a daddy-funded sword collection. I buried my face in my hands, groaning. Unbelievable. I'm not even good at dying. I can't believe you're grading my sacrifice like it's a failed exam. For a moment, the space was silent except for my own ragged breathing. Then I lowered my hands. My fingers still shook, but something hard, something hot, was curling in my chest. No, I wasn't going to give up, because I'd seen it. That look on Ranshu's face. The way his eyes widened when I stepped in front of him. The way his hand had twitched like he wanted to reach for me. He wasn't just cold steel. He wasn't born blackened. He was a boy who had never been chosen until I did. Even if it cost me pain, blood, or humiliation, I'd do it again. I clenched my fists. Listen here, system. You want me alive and Ranshu alive too? Fine. Then I'll figure out a way to make it happen. I'm not going to stand by and watch him suffer just because your stupid rules say I shouldn't die for him. The system hummed faintly. Acknowledged. Host determination increasing. Reinitializing narrative entry. A panel of glowing text appeared in the void. Words scrolling too fast for me to process. Caught fragments. Next key event. Abduction attempt. Location. Border village, human traffickers. Timeline. Subject age. Approximate 9 years old. I frowned. My throat went dry. So the next tragedy is the traffickers, huh? Affirmative. Host objective. Prevent subject from being captured or harmed. And I can't just die again, right? Correct. Host death will trigger reset. Great. No pressure. I slumped, kicking my feet in the void like I was sitting in a bathtub of nothing. You know what the worst part is? I wasn't even good at dying heroically. I didn't look cool at all. No one will remember me as a brave cultivator who blocked a strike. They'll just remember some idiot rogue who got skewered like a kebab. The system was merciless. Accuracy, 87%. I snapped my head up, glaring at the invisible voice. That was rhetorical. Silence stretched again. My heart still ached. Not just from phantom pain, but from guilt. I thought saving him once would be enough. But this world was cruel. Even if I blocked one sword, fate had a dozen more waiting. I couldn't protect Ranshu with sacrifice alone. I had to find another way. Slowly, I straightened in the void. My body still trembled, but my voice came out steady. All right, reset me. Put me back in. I'll keep going until I get it right. The system responded immediately. Acknowledged. Restarting timeline. Host transfer commencing in 3 gun. The void flared with blinding white. My chest tightened, my breath caught, and I braced myself. This time I swore I wouldn't just die. This time I'd find a way to live with him. Chapter 5 Second Crossing Traffickers. The world came back with the taste of dust in my mouth. I staggered forward, clutching at my chest. No wound this time, just the ghost of the last one. My hands were shaking, my knees weak. I took a breath, forcing myself to focus. All right, Su Wan, get your head on straight. This is round 2. No stabbing this time. The system's cold reminder still echoed in my skull. Next key event. Abduction attempt. Location. Border village. My gut twisted. Ranshu would be younger this time, 8, maybe 9. Alone. Vulnerable. And fate apparently had decided to throw traffickers at him. The village I landed in wasn't much. Crooked huts, muddy streets, smoke rising from weak fires. People moved like shadows, avoiding eye contact, too hungry or too afraid to bother with a stranger. I searched frantically, ignoring their stares. Where is he? Where is he? Then I saw him. A thin boy in patched gray clothes, hair tied messily, walking with his head down. His steps were steady, but there was a heaviness in the way he carried himself, like he'd long stopped expecting kindness from the world. Ranshu. My throat tightened. He was smaller than before, his face sharper, hollow with hunger. But his eyes, those eyes were still bright, cold like hidden steel. For a moment, I almost forgot to move. Then I noticed the shadows trailing him. Men. 3 of them, moving like wolves, circling closer with fake smiles. My pulse spiked. Shit! I darted forward, just as one of them lunged and grabbed Ranshu's arm. Got you, brat, the man sneered. Let him go, I yelled, throwing myself at them without a plan. My dagger flashed clumsily in my hand as I shoved between them and Ranshu. The boy's eyes widened in recognition. You? I didn't have time to answer. A fist slammed into my stomach, knocking the wind out of me. I staggered but didn't fall. Another trafficker drew a blade. Mind your business, fool. This one's worth silver. Over my dead body. My voice broke, but I forced it out louder. And just like that, I made fate's job easier. The first slash grazed my shoulder. The second sank into my side. Pain exploded, hot and sharp, but I bit back the scream. I grabbed Ranshu's wrist. Run. His small hand trembled in mine, but he didn't move. Run, damn it. I pulled him with me, staggering down the alley. The traffickers shouted behind us, feet pounding. Blood was dripping from me, staining the dirt. My vision blurred, but I kept dragging him, forcing my legs to move. We reached the edge of the village, a half-collapsed wall offering a gap to slip through. My strength was fading fast. Go, get out of here, I gasped, shoving him ahead. He stopped, glaring up at me with fire in his eyes. Why are you doing this? Because no one else will. I smiled weakly, tasting blood. A blade pierced my back. The force knocked me forward, nearly sending me to my knees. I coughed, warm liquid spilling from my lips. My vision went white for a moment, but I still held Ranshu's hand in a death grip. Keep moving, don't look back, I rasped, but he did look back. I fell hard against the dirt, pulling him down with me. He twisted, trying to hold me upright with his thin arms. The traffickers hesitated, muttering curses. One spat. Too much trouble. Leave them. The brat's not worth it if he comes with baggage. Their footsteps retreated, fading into the distance. And then it was quiet. I lay there, bleeding into the soil, Ranshu's small hands pressed against my wounds like he thought he could hold me together. His face was pale, his lips trembling, but his eyes, those sharp eyes, were wide with something I'd never seen before. Why would you? His voice cracked. I tried to laugh, but it came out as a wet cough. Because you deserve to be free. I reached up, brushing his cheek with a bloodied hand. My vision was dimming fast. Hey, don't cry. You look better when you're not crying, anyway. His grip on me tightened. Shut up. Don't close your eyes. But I was so tired. Ranshu, be good for me, okay? I whispered, and then everything went dark again, his voice echoing in the void. Chapter 6, Memories That Stick. You'd think dying the second time would make it easier. Didn't. If the first death was pain, the second was heartbreak. My body still ached with phantom cuts, but worse was the echo of his voice. Raw, breaking, calling me, begging me not to close my eyes. I died in his arms. And the thing that killed me more than the knife was the way he'd looked at me. Like for the first time in his short, miserable life, someone had chosen him. The void swallowed me again. Cold, endless, merciless. Ugh. Gods. I can still feel it. I curled up, pressing my hands against phantom wounds. The system's voice chimed in, clear and unbothered. Host deceased. Timeline reset commencing. I barked out a bitter laugh. You don't even give me 5 minutes to grieve, do you? Efficiency optimal. Mission restart recommended immediately. Yeah, fine. Throw me back in. But this time, I'm not dying in front of him again. I scrubbed my face with both hands. For the first time, my voice didn't waver. I wasn't just desperate anymore, I was angry. The white light flared, and when my eyes opened, I was back. The air smelled of pine and dirt. A quiet forest stretched around me, sunlight filtering through tall trees. Birds called in the distance. And there he was, Ranshu. This time he was sitting by a riverbank, crouched with a stick in hand, trying to spear fish. His clothes were shabby, his shoes barely holding together, but his face was calmer than I remembered. I took a step forward, heart pounding. Ranshu! He looked up. For a moment I froze, because his eyes, the way he looked at me, it wasn't blank. It was sharp, searching, like he knew me. I forced a grin. What? Surprised to see a handsome cultivator wandering by. He frowned, straightening slowly. His small hand tightened on the stick. You again. My heart skipped. You? Remember me? He tilted his head, silent for a long moment, then said, "I saw you. In a dream." The words hit me like a blade. A dream. To him, maybe it was just fragments. Flashes of a man stepping in front of him, dragging him through mud, bleeding, smiling, whispering his name with dying breaths. But even so, he remembered. Before I could answer, the system's cold voice echoed in my skull. Warning. Subject awareness increasing. Narrative stability at risk. My blood ran cold. What do you mean at risk? He just said he dreamed of me. Deviation detected. Subject is retaining impressions across resets. Caution advised. I clenched my fists. What the hell do you expect me to do? Pretend I don't know him? Ignore him? No answer. Just silence. Typical. Ranshu stepped closer, eyes narrowing. He was so young, but already he carried that aura, the quiet coldness, the sharp edge under the surface. You're strange, like you shouldn't be here. But you feel familiar, he said, his voice softened for just a breath. I swallowed hard, my throat tight. I wanted to tell him everything. That I'd die 100 times if it meant he'd live. That I'd seen him grow into the overlord villain fandom painted him as, and I still admired him more than any so-called hero. That he didn't deserve this cruel world twisting him into darkness. But if I said it, the system would probably fry me on the spot. So I just crouched down, forcing my usual grin. Maybe we met in another life. Doesn't matter. What matters is, you're not alone anymore. His lips parted slightly, his expression unreadable. We stayed like that for a long moment. Him staring at me like he was trying to peel me apart and find the truth. Me silently daring the system to try and stop me. Finally, Ranshu turned away, sitting back on the riverbank. If you're lying, I'll know. I chuckled softly, relief washing through me. Fair enough. But I'm not lying. You'll see. The system buzzed faintly in the back of my mind. A warning I ignored. Because in his eyes, just for a flicker, I saw it. Not just suspicion. Not just coldness. But a trace of something warmer. Recognition. And if that tiny thread of memory could cross resets, then maybe, just maybe, I could change everything. Chapter 7, Third Crossing. Beast Attack. If there's one thing I've learned from being thrown into this cursed novel world multiple times, it's this. Every peaceful moment is just fate catching its breath before it tries to kill me again. But that night by the river, I let myself pretend otherwise. The fire crackled weakly, barely enough to chase the forest's chill away. I'd managed to scrounge up some half-dry branches, though my cultivator survival skills were basically just what I'd stolen from wilderness survival webtoons. Ranshu sat across from me, silent as always, hugging his knees while his dark eyes reflected the flames. Hey, you ever roasted fish before? I said, poking the fire with a stick. He blinked at me, suspicious. Fish? Yeah. I held up my prize. 2 sad-looking river fish I'd somehow managed to catch after nearly falling in 3 times. Not exactly restaurant quality, but better than chewing bark. His lips twitched, just a little, not quite a smile. You're noisy. That's called charisma, kid. Besides, what's the point of being quiet all the time? You'll give yourself wrinkles before you even hit puberty. I grinned, skewering the fish on sticks. He didn't answer, but he didn't turn away either. That was progress. We ate in silence after that. The fish was bland, half-burnt, half-raw, but Ranshu ate every bite without complaint. I pretended mine was delicious, humming as if I were a 5-star chef. When we finished, he looked at me across the dying firelight. His voice was soft, almost cautious. You feel familiar. The words stabbed straight into me. I forced a smile, though my throat felt tight. Yeah? Told you we knew each other in a past life. He studied me like he didn't believe it, but didn't press further. Eventually, his eyes drifted shut, exhaustion pulling him under. I watched him sleep, his face finally free of that constant wary edge. Just a boy, small and breakable, dreaming under the stars. And I swore to myself, again, that I'd protect this fragile piece no matter what. The next day was ordinary, almost painfully so. We walked through the forest together. I taught him how to throw rocks at tree trunks like targets. He taught me how to listen for running water. I tripped over roots more times than I'd admit. He raised an eyebrow every time, probably thinking, how is this idiot still alive? At one point I joked, with me around, you don't even need a sect. Free food, free entertainment, free protection. He muttered, more like free trouble, but there was no heat in his tone. I laughed, ruffling his hair despite his glare. Yeah, maybe, but I'm your trouble now. And just for a flicker, his gaze softened. That night we camped again. The forest was quiet, moonlight filtering through the leaves. For once, I felt almost happy, almost like this was enough. Then the next night, fate remembered me. The attack came fast. One moment we were dozing by the embers of our fire. The next, the forest exploded with a roar so loud it shook the ground. The spirit beast burst from the shadows, massive and glowing with killing intent. Ranshu's spear was in his hands instantly. My dagger was already out, though I knew damn well it was a toothpick compared to this monster. I swallowed hard. Guess I jinxed us, huh? He didn't look at me, eyes locked on the beast. Stay behind me. I almost laughed. Nice try. I'm not letting a kid be my bodyguard. The beast lunged. We split, dodging opposite directions. His claws gouged the earth where we'd just been. Ranshu's strikes were quick, precise for someone his age, but the spear only scratched thick hide. The beast roared, swinging at him. My blood went cold. If it hit him, no! I sprinted, slamming into him just as the claw came down. The blow landed on me instead. The world went red. Bones shattered, lungs crushed. Pain drowned out everything. I collapsed, shoving Ranshu away with the last of my strength. He screamed my name, my real name, not even realizing it. Su Wan. Through the haze, I saw him scrambling back to me, hands shaking as he tried to push the beast off. His face twisted in fury, in terror, in something too raw for a boy his age. Why? Why again? His voice cracked. I forced a smile, blood bubbling from my lips. Because, like I said, I can't watch you get hurt. The beast roared, raising its claw again. My vision blurred. My body wouldn't move. I met Ranshu's eyes one last time. Don't forget me. And then the world went dark. Chapter 8: Crack in Destiny. Dying by being crushed under a giant spirit beast's claw? Yeah, not fun. Wouldn't recommend. When I opened my eyes again, the void greeted me like an old friend. If by old friend, you meant the kind who showed up uninvited and drank all your beer. Cold, endless, silent. The only thing that followed me here was the phantom weight of claws pressing into my ribs, the sound of bones snapping like dry twigs, and Ranshu's voice, raw, hoarse, screaming my name. God, I could still hear it. I curled up on nothing, hands gripping my chest even though the wounds were gone. 3 times, damn it. First the nobles, then the traffickers, now the beast. I changed everything. Every scar, every nightmare, every blood-soaked memory that had twisted his childhood. I'd stepped in. I bled for him. I died for him. So why did it feel like I'd only made things worse? The system's voice cut through my spiral, calm as a guillotine blade. Host deceased. Restarting timeline. I laughed bitterly, voice cracking. Oh, don't even start with that deadpan announcer routine. At least pretend to care. I got squashed into Su Wan paste. No response. I sat up, teeth gritted. Fine. Give me the report. Tell me I did it. Tell me he's safe now. Silence. My stomach sank. System. The voice chimed again. Flat and merciless. Blackening value. Still rising. The words slammed into me harder than the beast's claw. No, I shook my head violently. No, you're wrong. I stopped everything. He didn't get hurt to the point of die in the alley. He wasn't sold to traffickers. He didn't bleed out alone in the forest. I fixed it. Correction. Subject survived major injury events due to host intervention. However, destiny deviation insufficient. I laughed, sharp and shaky. Insufficient? What, you wanted me to die in higher definition this time? Should I try screaming louder for dramatic effect? The system ignored me, as always. Causality correction in progress. Blackening value trajectory. Upward. Something inside me cracked. I dropped to my knees, hands fisting in my hair. What the hell am I supposed to do? How do you fight destiny? How do you fight a goddamn script written to make him suffer? My voice echoed uselessly in the void. No one answered. Memories flooded in. The boy's eyes narrowing at me across the fire, the way he'd eaten my burnt fish without complaint, the warmth of his voice when he admitted I felt familiar. And finally, his scream, "Su Wan," as I lay broken under that beast. He'd remembered. Even through resets, some part of him clung to me. How could that possibly lead to blackening? My chest tightened. System, I rasped. He was alone all those critical times. But now, I was there with him, saving him, so how could he be blackened? Error. Causality indeterminate. Analysis unavailable. Don't dodge me. You know something. I snapped. No response. I sagged. Exhausted. My anger burned down to ashes, leaving only determination. Fine. Don't tell me. But listen here, Tin Can. I don't care if the blackening value rises, or if you say destiny is written in stone. As long as I'm here, I'm going to fight it. If I have to die 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, I'll do it. I dragged in a shaky breath. The void stayed silent. I smiled bitterly. Yeah, I thought so. You're not the one bleeding for this, are you? A faint flicker of light sparked ahead. My next doorway back into the story. My whole body ached with phantom pain. My spirit felt cracked in two. But still, I stood. Because if I quit now, then Ranshu's fate would really be sealed. And I wasn't about to let the boy I'd praised and adored, my beautiful, cold, dangerous overlord, turn into a monster just because the universe said so. All right, round 4. Let's see what hell you throw at me this time. I muttered, squaring my shoulders. The light swallowed me whole. Chapter 9, Fourth Crossing. Grown villain. There's nothing more disorienting than being dead 1 second and alive the next. My last memory was pain, the crushing weight of a beast's claw, then void, then wind, heat, and a terrifyingly heavy silence. I staggered, blinking hard. My boots hit marble instead of dirt. Marble? Since when did my random landings come with luxury flooring? I barely had a chance to take in the massive hall around me. Black pillars, dragon-carved beams, torches flickering with eerie green fire, before my instincts screamed at me. Danger. Cold, suffocating danger. Then came the voice. Low, smooth, dripping with menace. Well, look who finally dropped in. I froze. Slowly, like a horror movie protagonist who knows better but turns anyway. I lifted my head, and there he was, Ranshu, except not the half-starved kid by the river. Not the wary boy who ate my burnt fish. Not even the trembling teenager clinging to me in terror. This was the man. Tall, sharp, beautiful in the way knives are beautiful. His black robes whispered with every step, embroidered in silver threads that caught the torchlight. His long hair framed a face too perfect, too cruel, his eyes a storm of night. The overlord villain himself. The fandom's nightmare and my hopeless crush. My baby had grown up, and was currently looking at me like I was prey. Before I could stammer out something stupid like, "Hey, long time no see. Want to roast fish again?" He moved. One moment he was across the hall. The next, he was in front of me, faster than I could blink. I gasped as my back slammed against a cold stone pillar. His hand was braced beside my head, the other gripping my chin firmly. His body leaned close, his breath ghosting across my ear. Do you think I wouldn't notice? Every time I reach for you, you vanish. Every time you die, I lose something. And you come back again. His voice was velvet-wrapped steel. I shivered. My brain short-circuited between holy hell he's hot and holy hell I'm gonna die for real this time. Hey, funny story about that. I stammered, forcing a shaky grin. Silence. His grip tightened. Not enough to hurt, but enough to remind me he could snap my neck if he wanted. His eyes, cold and bottomless, bore into mine. If you dare to die again, I will let this entire world be buried with you. He whispered, each word slow and dangerous. My heart stopped. Not because of the threat, though yeah, that was horrifying, but because of the way he said it. Not like a villain, not like the overlord, but like someone desperate, like someone already on the edge of breaking. I swallowed hard, trying to gather my courage. Ranshu, you remember me? My voice cracked. Damn it, he didn't answer. His thumb brushed my jaw, almost absently, but his eyes never softened. You haunt me, your face, your voice, your blood. Even when you die, I remember. Tell me, Su Wan, what exactly are you? He said at last. My stomach twisted. He remembered. Even through resets, he remembered. The system's warning from before echoed in my skull. Subject awareness increasing. Narrative stability at risk. Well, no kidding. Narrative stability was already out the window. I forced a laugh because sarcasm was the only shield I had left. What am I? Let's see. Professional human shield. Full-time idiot. Part-time roasted fish chef. Not much else. His eyes narrowed dangerously, but for a flicker, just a flicker, I saw it. A crack. A trace of the boy under the mask. The boy who'd eaten burnt fish without complaint. The boy who'd screamed my name when I died. The boy who didn't deserve this destiny. I drew in a shaky breath. Ranshu, I promised I'd protect you. He stiffened, the mask faltering for half a heartbeat. Then, just as quickly, it was back. His lips curled into a cold smile. Protect me? Fool. I don't need your protection. What I need is for you to stop leaving me. His voice dropped lower, darker. My throat closed. My heart thundered. I had no idea what to say, or what the system would let me say without frying me. But one thing was clear. The boy I saved had grown into the villain I loved. And he was no longer going to let me slip away. Chapter 10: The Death of an Idiot. I'd been shoved against walls before. Usually by overexcited classmates in crowded hallways or by my cousin during wrestling matches. None of that prepared me for this. Because when Ranshu pinned me, it wasn't clumsy. It wasn't casual. It was deliberate. Like he'd been waiting for this exact moment, sharpening the blade for years, and now I was the prey in his hand. The stone at my back was cold, seeping through my thin robes. His hand was braced beside my head, fingers splayed against the pillar with casual strength. The other hand gripped my chin, forcing my face upward. I couldn't move. Hell, I couldn't even breathe. Ranshu's eyes were locked on mine. Not the wide, cautious eyes of the boy by the river. Not the frightened gaze of the teen in the forest. These were the eyes of the overlord. Sharp, cold, unrelenting. And yet, under the storm, I caught something worse. Something fragile. Possession. His aura pressed down on me like a mountain. I'd read about overwhelming pressure in wuxia novels, but living it was another matter. My knees trembled. My lungs screamed. Every instinct told me to bow, submit, survive. But all I could think was, holy crap. My baby grew up into a terrifyingly hot villain. Of course, I couldn't say that out loud. Instead, my mouth blurted, hey, this is a little close, don't you think? We just skipped 3 whole arcs of character development here. His voice cut through mine, low and dangerous, every syllable deliberate. Little close. I don't think so. His grip tightened, thumb brushing the edge of my jaw. His breath was warm against my ear. Time stopped. Every nerve in my body screamed. I swallowed hard. My voice came out broken. You waited for me. His eyes narrowed, dark and sharp. Every time, the words hit like thunder. He leaned closer, forehead almost touching mine. I wake with the taste of ash in my mouth, the echo of your blood on my hands. Your voice, your smile, your last breath. I cannot escape them. And when I reach for you, you vanish. Again, and again, and again. His expression twisted, sharp as a knife. My chest tightened. God, he wasn't just angry. He was desperate. The system buzzed faintly at the back of my mind. Warning. Subject awareness at maximum. Narrative collapse imminent. I ignored it, because right now, the only collapse that mattered was the man in front of me. Ranshu, you make it sound like I'm haunting you. My voice shook. I forced out a smile anyway. You are. You haunt me, Su Wan. Even in death, you refuse to leave. His voice was raw. A whisper dragged through knives. My throat went dry. What could I say? Sorry I keep throwing myself in front of you like a human shield? Sorry I can't resist being an idiot martyr? Look, I'm flattered, really. But don't you think this a little overdramatic? We met only few times, and you don't even know me well. For a flicker, something cracked in his mask. His lips twitched, almost a smile. Almost. Then it was gone, replaced by icy steel. I am not joking. I told you, this time, if you dare to vanish, I'll burn the whole world. My heart hammered. I wanted to reach out, touch his arm, remind him he wasn't alone. But his aura was suffocating, daring me to move, daring me to test the limits of his obsession. Still, I forced my hand upward, trembling, and rested it against his sleeve. Okay, I won't vanish. Just don't bury the world. If you need someone to blame, someone to hold on to, just take me. I whispered. His eyes widened for a breath, surprise breaking through the storm. Then he leaned closer, his lips brushing my ear, his voice softer but no less dangerous. Be careful what you offer, Su Wan. I might never let you go. And for the first time, I realized the boy I died for wasn't gone. But the man he became would never let me go again. Chapter 11: The Villain's Obsession. If you've ever had someone look at you like you're the center of their world, you'd think it'd feel nice. Romantic. Special. But when Ranshu looked at me like that, with eyes so dark they swallowed the firelight, it felt like drowning. He hadn't moved since pinning me to the wall. His hand still cradled my chin, his aura pressed down like an invisible weight. And me? I was frozen between panic and a stupid, traitorous flutter in my chest. I tried to joke, "Hey, if this is how you greet all your guests, no wonder people call you an overlord." He didn't laugh. Instead, his voice came low, raw with something I couldn't name. "Do you want to know what I remember?" I stiffened. The system's warnings still echoed in my head, but curiosity burned hotter. "Remember." His eyes narrowed, and for once, the overlord mask cracked. "I remember you throwing yourself in front of me in the alley, the knife in your chest, your blood on my hands. I remember you dragging me from the traffickers, broken and bleeding, smiling as if it was enough. And I remember the forest, the beast's claw, your bones shattering as you pushed me away." His grip tightened, forcing my chin upward. Every word was a blade. Each memory he spoke was one I'd carried too, scars that never faded even after resets. But hearing him say it, my throat closed. And do you know what it did to me? Not gratitude. Never gratitude. Twisted. It rotted. His lips curved, not in a smile, but something colder. I swallowed. "Ranshu." It became obsession. Every time you died, I thought I would lose my mind. Every time you vanished, I clawed at shadows, desperate to drag you back. And when you returned, when you appeared again, I swore I'd never let you go. Not again. His voice dropped to a whisper, brushing against my ear. My heart thundered. So it was true. All those sacrifices hadn't saved him. They'd branded him. My deaths hadn't given him hope. They'd planted a seed of obsession so deep it took root in his soul. And now it bloomed before me, beautiful and terrifying. Okay, wow. I thought Fandom overanalyzed when they called you a Yandra, but this is next-level confirmation. I thought to myself. He leaned even closer, until his forehead brushed mine. His voice was almost tender, but every word was a chain. "You are mine, Su Wan. Your life, your death, your blood, your smile, all mine." I drew in a shaky breath, forcing myself to meet his gaze. "Ranshu, you're scaring me." For a flicker, something passed through his eyes. Hesitation, almost guilt. Then it hardened again. "Good." I blinked. "Good. If you're afraid, you won't dare to leave me. Stay afraid. Stay alive. That's enough. His hand brushed my cheek, a touch so gentle it felt cruel paired with his words. The system buzzed faintly, warning after warning flashing like red alarms. Subject blackening value rising. Host caution advised. No kidding. But as I stared at him, at the man who remembered every one of my deaths, I realized something. Maybe this wasn't about preventing his blackening anymore. Maybe it was about surviving it. Still, I couldn't help myself. I whispered, "You're an idiot, you know that?" His eyes narrowed dangerously. I smiled faintly, even through the suffocating weight of his aura. "If you think scaring me is enough to keep me alive, then you don't know me as well as you think." For the first time, he faltered. Just a crack. And in that crack, I swore I saw the boy again. Chapter 12, Bound to the Overlord. Being a prisoner of the most feared man in the cultivation world wasn't what I imagined when I fangirled about Ranshu online. For one, I wasn't chained in some dank dungeon with rats nibbling my toes. No. My prison was a lavish pavilion at the heart of his fortress. Silk cushions. Carpets so soft I was afraid to step on them with my grubby boots. Food that looked like it belonged on glossy restaurant ads. It would have been paradise if not for the fact that I wasn't allowed to leave. And, well, if not for the fact that my warden was the guy who once threatened to bury the world with me. I paced the room, muttering to myself, "Congratulations, Su Wan. You've gone from nerd behind a computer screen to pampered hostage. What's next?" Stockholm Syndrome. The door slid open with a soft creak. I froze. He walked in. Ranshu. Black robes trailing like shadows, hair tied back with a silver clasp, expression carved from stone. Even just standing there, his aura filled the room, bending the air around him. And yet, when his gaze landed on me, it softened. Slightly. "You're awake," he said, voice low, controlled. I threw up my hands. Awake, fed, bathed, and not rotting in a ditch. "Thanks for the 5-star hostage treatment." He arched a brow. "Do you prefer chains?" My heart skipped. "No, this is fine. Very humane of you." Later that day, he brought me along to what I thought was some boring meeting. Instead, I got a front-row seat to the hypocrisy of the cultivation world. The so-called righteous sect leaders arrived in flowing robes, dripping with self-righteousness. They bowed shallowly, their words sweet like honey but their eyes sharp with calculation. "Lord Mo, if only you would return to the righteous path, the heavens themselves would rejoice." One of them said smoothly, another added with a sickly smile, "Yes, your talent is wasted in darkness. Come back to the light, and all your past missteps will be forgiven." Past missteps? Did they mean the years he was beaten, starved, hunted like a dog while they turned a blind eye? I clenched my fists. Ranshu didn't flinch. He sat on his black throne, cold and majestic, his expression unreadable. "Forgiven? For surviving what you allowed? For enduring what you inflicted? Tell me, what exactly do I need forgiveness for?" His voice was silk wrapped over a blade. The hall went silent. I swallowed hard, looking between them. The righteous men smiled tighter, masks cracking under his words. And suddenly it clicked. This wasn't cruelty for cruelty's sake. This was rage. This was loneliness sharpened into a weapon. Every betrayal, every injustice. His so-called darkness was nothing but their hypocrisy reflected back at them. That night, back in my gilded prison, I confronted him. "You hate them," I said quietly, watching him remove his outer robe, his back straight, movements precise. He glanced at me. Observation skills at last. I ignored the jab. "They made you into this, didn't they? The way they talk like they're saints, but they abandoned you when you needed them most. And now they dare to play righteous." His hands stilled. For a moment, the mask slipped. His shoulders tensed, and in his eyes flickered something raw hurt, old and buried deep. Then it was gone, replaced by steel. "You understand nothing." Maybe. But I understood one thing. His blackening didn't come from cruelty. Came from being alone too long. From dying inside every time someone he trusted betrayed him. From losing me. Again. and again. I wanted to say it, "You're not alone anymore," but I bit my tongue, because if I said it, I'd have to mean it. And the terrifying truth was, Ranshu wouldn't ever let me take it back. As I lay on the too-soft bed that night, staring at the silk canopy, I whispered to myself, "He doesn't need saving from cruelty. He needs saving from loneliness." And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I was up to the task. Chapter 13, Breaking Through. I should have known the peace wouldn't last. When you're living in a wuxia novel, quiet is just the prelude before swords, explosions, and someone screaming about vengeance. Sure enough, the night air split with a war horn, and fire arrows streaked across the sky like comets. The fortress shuddered as explosions ripped through the outer wall. The ambush had come. Chaos swallowed the courtyard. Black-armored cultivators clashed with a tide of so-called righteous disciples. The scent of blood and smoke thickened the air. And right at the center stood Ranshu, calm as a storm's eye, his aura towering, blades dancing like extensions of his will. Even in battle, he was magnificent. Even surrounded, he didn't waver. But when I saw the ambusher slip through the chaos, dagger aimed for his back, my body moved before my brain. I sprinted, lungs burning, shouting, "Ranshu, behind you!" I wasn't strong, not compared to him. My cultivation was barely enough to hold my ground. But I could at least take the blow. Again, if I could just push him out of harm's way. A hand snatched my wrist mid-motion, iron strong. In the next heartbeat, the dagger never touched him. Instead, the attacker's body was flung like a rag doll across the courtyard, bones shattering on stone. And me? I was crushed against Ranshu's chest, pinned as tightly as if he were afraid I'd dissolve into smoke. His voice roared hotter than fire. "Do you think I want to live in a world without you?" The words silenced me more than the clash of swords ever could. His eyes burned, fury and despair entwined. "Every time, you throw yourself into death as if my life is worth more than yours. Do you think I asked for your sacrifice? Do you think I want your blood to stain me forever?" I opened my mouth, but no sound came, because he was right. Every time I died, I'd thought only of saving him. I never thought of what it did to him. I can fight 1,000 enemies. I can crush sects and empires. But if you die again, Su Wan, I will destroy everything, because there's no world worth living in without you in it. His grip on my wrist tightened, trembling. My chest cracked open, because how do you argue with that? How do you tell someone not to feel what you feel pounding in your own heart? So I laughed. Weak, messy, trembling. "You're such an idiot, Ranshu." His eyes narrowed. "I liked you from the start," I blurted. His breath caught. I forced myself to go on, words spilling faster than my nerves. "Back in my world, before all this, before systems and crossings, I liked you. I read about you in novels, praised you in forums, called you my favorite. Not because you were perfect, but because even as a villain, even when everyone misunderstood you, I saw something that shone." I looked at him, really looked, at the man who carried loneliness like armor. "I admired you. I still do. Not as some character. Not as a villain. As you." The battlefield noise blurred into nothing. Ranshu froze, as if my words struck deeper than any blade. Slowly, he leaned closer, eyes locked on mine, searching for a lie. And when he found none, when my trembling honesty hung between us, he closed the distance. His lips pressed against mine, rough and desperate, like he was drowning and I was air. My heart exploded in my chest. I kissed him back, clumsy but real, fingers clutching his robe as if anchoring myself. It wasn't the kiss of an overlord. It was the kiss of a boy who had lost too much, found something, and refused to let it go again. When we finally pulled apart, breathless, his forehead rested against mine. "I knew it from the first moment you came back, that you are not someone from this world. It doesn't matter. Whether this is real or not, I don't care. Because in this world, right now, right here, you're mine. Don't forget it." He whispered, softer this time, almost pleading. I smiled shakily, brushing my thumb against his jaw. "Then you'd better get used to me sticking around. Because I'm not planning to die again. For the first time, the corner of his mouth lifted, just a flicker of a smile. And in that moment, amidst fire and blood, we carved out something fragile but real. Not obsession, not sacrifice, something that might just maybe become love. Chapter 14, Love Against the System. I woke to the sterile void of the system space. No silk bed, no looming overlord breathing down my neck. Just white emptiness stretching forever. And that damn mechanical voice. Host, anomaly detected. Blackening value unstable. World collapse probability, 78%. Solution. Host must enact stabilizing sacrifice. I groaned, pressing a hand over my eyes. Translation. You want me to die again? Affirmative. I sat up, teeth grinding. Haven't you been paying attention? My dying doesn't fix things. It only makes it worse. Ranshu remembers. Every time I throw myself away, it just pushes him deeper into the dark. Host's emotions irrelevant. World stability requires this sacrifice. And this time we'll erase his memories of you. The cold voice reverberated. For a moment I almost gave in. That old reflex, it whispered, if it saves him, isn't it worth it? But then I remembered his face. The fury in his voice when he roared. Do you think I want to live in a world without you? The desperate way he kissed me, as if I was the only anchor he had left. And I knew. This time I couldn't do it. I stood, fists clenched. No, I won't die for your script anymore. And I won't let you control his mind. I choose him. The system crackled. Static flickering like anger. Host rejection detected. Probability of collapse. Increasing. Reinitializing protocol. The void shattered. I gasped, snapping back into my body. The first thing I saw was Ranshu, sitting beside me, eyes dark with storm. You vanished. Where did you go? He said, voice low, trembling with something violent. I tried to explain, words stumbling. The system, it wants me dead. It says it's the only way to fix the world. But before I could finish, he grabbed me, crushing me against his chest. His aura flared so hot the air shook. If it dares to touch you again, I will kill it. Even if it hides in heaven or beyond. I'll tear it apart with my bare hands. His voice broke into a snarl. I froze, stunned, then laughed weakly against his shoulder. You can't just kill a system. It's not even. He pulled back, cupping my face so hard it almost hurt. His eyes glowed with terrifying promise. Anything that tries to take you from me can be killed. For once, I didn't argue, because the way he said it, furious, unshakable, absolute, I almost believed him. And for the first time, I realized something scary. If the system pushed, he really would try. He'd burn heaven and earth until nothing was left. Ranshu, I don't want to die. Not for the plot. Not for the world. I just want to stay with you. My voice came out soft, shaky. Something inside him broke. His hand slipped to the back of my neck, pulling me close until our foreheads touched. His voice was rough, almost pained. Then stay. No matter what collapses, no matter what burns, you stay. I swallowed, the heat of his breath against my lips undoing me. And then he kissed me. Not the desperate, drowning kiss of before. This one was slower, deeper, heat curling like fire through my veins. His lips traced mine as though memorizing, branding, claiming. I shivered, hands fisting in his robes, pulling him closer. He kissed me until I forgot the system, the collapse, the entire world. Until the only thing left was him. His breath, his warmth, his unyielding hold. When we finally broke apart, my lips tingled, and his thumb brushed them gently, almost reverently. You chose me, he whispered. I smiled, shaky but sure. I've always chosen you. His eyes softened just enough to undo me completely, and somewhere deep the system screamed warnings. But I didn't care. For the first time, I wasn't just a pawn in its game. I was his. Chapter 15, Eternal Binding. The sky split open. Not metaphorically, literally. Cracks veined across the heavens, leaking light like shattered glass. Mountains trembled, Rivers boiled, and the system's cold warnings screamed in the back of my head. Collapse at 92%. Final deviation imminent. And of course, because fate loved irony, the so-called heroes descended at that very moment. Sword gleams, robes billowing, voices dripping with sanctimonious righteousness. Ranshu, your era of tyranny ends today, one shouted. Tyranny? Hypocrisy, more like. Ranshu's laughter was sharp as steel. His aura erupted, a storm of black and silver, shaking the battlefield. I should have been afraid, but instead, standing at his side, I felt steady, because this time I wasn't planning to throw myself in front of anything. The heroes lunged, blades flashing. I raised a shaky barrier, barely holding it. One strike would have shattered me before, but before it could fall, his arms swept around me, shielding me entirely. Stay behind me, he ordered, voice dark and commanding. Like hell, we do this together. I snapped back, gripping his sleeve. His eyes flicked to mine, furious, desperate, and softened for just a heartbeat. Together, then, the battle roared. Swords clashed, spells cracked, light and shadow tore across the collapsing sky. I fought where I could, throwing talismans, hurling firebursts, but mostly, I stayed alive. Because every time danger neared, he was there. No longer watching me die. No longer letting me shield him. Now he shielded me. And gods, it felt different. For once, I wasn't a sacrifice. I was a partner. The system's voice shrieked louder, desperate. Timeline cannot stabilize. Sacrifice required. Host termination necessary. My knees buckled as pain lanced my chest. Phantom blades of data trying to pierce me. Ranshu roared, eyes wild. He ripped through 3 cultivators with one sweep of his sword, then seized me, crushing me against him. Even the heavens can't take you from me. System, plot, fate. If you dare touch him again, I will unmake you. His aura surged, darker and brighter than ever, wrapping me in an unbreakable shield. The sky shook, and for a moment, I swore the system faltered. I clung to his robe, gasping. Ranshu, it's not just about fighting them. The world, if it collapses, then let it collapse. I will rebuild it, as long as you're in it. His forehead pressed against mine, breath hot, words rough with fury and love. My throat tightened. The cracks widened overhead, light spilling like veins of fire. This was it, the end or something new. And I knew what I had to say. I whispered, even if I have to die 1,000 times, it was always worth it for you. His arms crushed me tighter, trembling. Then live for me now, forever. Before I could answer, his lips were on mine. It wasn't desperate this time. It wasn't rushed. It was steady, sealing, eternal, the kind of kiss that said, this is it, there is no end, only us. I kissed him back, tears burning hot in my eyes, as the world shattered around us.